Should be live now? Yes, we are live. Good morning, folks. Welcome to Mark's morning business show, Business Drop In, where we're talking to people who, entrepreneurs who have their own business, or people who are leading businesses from the front. So, we're on live on LinkedIn. We're on live on YouTube at mindsighteducation.com, and we're also live on Facebook. So it's an early morning show because I know an awful lot of people who run their own businesses and work for themselves and are leading companies are up early and out early. And you could be sitting on the train now, you could be sitting in the car and listening to this show. We also have repeats on LinkedIn during the day, and also it's on Spotify. Just go to Mark Listens To or Mark Beggs on Spotify and see a repeat of the show during the day. So the last few days we've been talking about using the whiteboard to help grow your business and help manage your business for the next 12 months. So we've talked about the importance of finding out what your overheads are. What are your actual overheads in your business? And waking yourself up to what the real figure is, and not making it up in your head and thinking this is it, this might be it, this might not be it. We're actually getting over the shock of what it's really cost you to run your own business. Number two, we talked about yesterday. We talked all about sales, planning for sales, how to get the figures, and deciding what is your sales figure for the next 12 months. And the importance, once again, just say to you, people will say to me, okay, I have all my sales on an Excel spreadsheet. I look at it once a day. I have all my overheads on Excel. I look at it every day. Yeah, that's brilliant. Excel and all that type of stuff and having it on your phone is all absolutely brilliant. But from my point of view, it's not the best way to do things, because you need to be subconsciously reminded every single time what your figure is and what you're aiming for. And if you walk by a whiteboard in your office or a whiteboard at home, or even in a big flip chart, if you haven't got a whiteboard, and you're seeing that sales figure there every single day, and you're seeing your overhead figure there every single day, it just reminds you of what you're aiming for and what your target is and what are your key figures to drive your business. And that's really important, that you know what the key figures are to drive your business every single day, okay? Because I've got into many companies, and I'm working with a company at the moment, a young company, and we're doing the whiteboard challenge. We're going through all the sales. We're planning the whole year ahead. They had an okay year last year, but they want to have a great year this year. So it's planning that. And they only realize now the importance of having a whiteboard. And yet when you go into many, many business owners' offices, they'll have whiteboards and they'll have key things to look at. It could be to make phone calls today. It could be they have 5 or 6 things they want to do this week. And the reason they do the whiteboard and the reason they have it up there is they want to keep reminding themselves. They don't trust the phone. They don't trust the internet. They don't trust their calendar to remind them. They want to see it, that when they sit at their desk, they're looking up at it. And that's a really important thing. It's like manifesting, that when you see all the time up there, you know what you have to do and you know what you have to manifest and you know what you have to bring into your business. Okay, and that's really important. And that's why, as I said, when you go into many successful business owners' offices and business leaders, you'll see the whiteboard there. You'll see many of them. I remember when we took over Indigo many years ago, we had in our sales office, we had all people on the phone selling internet. We used to sell it there. People used to ring us in, and we used to send them a disc in the post. That was the old way, with our password and username and all on it. But we used to have on the board a whiteboard in the sales office, the sales we needed this week, and the total amount of calls we needed to make per day, and the total amount of sales we needed to make per day, and the total amount of MLOs and accounts details we had sent out to people every day, because we managed the whole system all the way through. If you look at an awful lot big first responders bases, they'll have up on the wall the number of the time delay, the number of ambulances out there. You'll see other companies who are doing inbound calls showing how long people are waiting, the wait time, the turnover time, the amount of calls coming in, the volumes. And that's because when you can see it up there in front of you, it actually makes it work for yourself. It makes it much easier to manage the whole process. So on your whiteboard, we now have your overhead figure. We now have your sales figure. Another very important figure for driving your business extremely important figure for driving your business is cash in, collections, for people who owe you money, no matter what you call it. So one thing that a lot of people don't focus on to the last minute of the month or last minute when they have to pay wages or they have to pay certain overheads is what they're collecting and what the collections are. And so it's very, very important that as another key figure up on your whiteboard is how much money do you need to collect every week or every month. Now you might say, well, it's the same as my overhead, my weekly overhead and my monthly overhead, but it mightn't be, because maybe when it comes to car insurance or it comes to car tax or other items, maybe you pay them once a year. So that means if you're paying them once a year, then the figure up on the board is not the figure you need to collect. Because the figure on the board is what you need to cover every month, so that at the end of the year, all your overheads are covered. But it may go up and down as a trough, because what you need to pay out today could be different. Also, you could have one or two salespeople, if you have salespeople working on commission, that get paid commission next month. So your next month's wage bill is going to be higher than this month, right? So the collection figure, what you want to get in every single week or every single month, is a very important figure to have on that board. And when I was running the hygiene company, we always had one of the things we did was we put on the whiteboard what we needed to collect this week or this month to get money in. Because when we had the figure up there, we could then focus on who we had to ring for money. So we put the figure up there we needed cash-wise, we needed in the bank this week or this month. So we saw it every single day. And then every morning, I checked the bank to see what was in, and if there's money in, we reduce that figure on the whiteboard for this month by the amount of money that has been collected. But also, we'd put up there the key accounts that were over 30 days, and maybe hitting 60 days. People who needed a phone call to remind them that they owed us money, and people that needed a phone call to say, "Look, your account's now in 60 days. Would you mind, we need to get this sorted out. We need the money in, and I'd appreciate if you could pay us next day or two." And we had those names of those companies on the board as well. And if you went over 90 days, you were on the board in red, right? So that we knew we had to chase you like mad. But if and this is a challenge with electricians and plumbers and carpenters, people in the service industries. If you're out on the road an awful lot chasing business, it's very hard to keep track on who owes you this or who owes you that, especially if some people pay you some now or some later on. It's very hard to keep track of who owes you what. So if you're walking back into your office once in the evening or once every couple of days, and you see on the board, right, okay, here's what I needed to collect this week, what we got in so far, what we collected off people who have done work for, what have we collected, what's coming in the bank. So that figure is a big, big driving force in how you manage your business and how you manage stuff. So with those three key figures, so I said the way, excuse me, I lose my voice every morning around this time. So I said the way to manage this is, and once again, just say with cash collections, make sure if you know how much money you need physically in every month, not your overheads, how much money you need in every month to pay all the bills due that month. You know what your overheads are every single month. So if you know exactly how much you need, what your overhead is every single month, that's the minimum you must cover to keep the business viable. And then if you have decided what sales you're going to do for the month and for the year, then you know what sales figure you have to hit every single month, right? If you can manage those three key figures, if you can really manage them and work those three figures, you will be very successful in running your business. And it's a big challenge because people will say to me, well, you might say to people, well, there's only three things you have to concentrate on. If you can manage those, then they will drive you going out there, knocking on doors, getting more sales. They will go out there and make you chase money and get cash in. And they will also probably get the overhead figure, make you keep looking at overhead figure and always ask yourself, how can I reduce the overhead? How can I make the overhead figure smaller? Remember, the smaller the overhead figure gets, the bigger your profit gets. Because you keep the turnover high. Keep the turnover the way you want to, and keep the sales target for the whole year. Keep that sales target. So Just keep it. So if you're managing those three key figures, as I said, your cash in figure, your overhead figure, and your sales figure, your business is going to go forward every single day of the week. It just will, because and that's the beauty about using a whiteboard. And people still someone email me again the other day saying, "Well, I have to go out and buy a whiteboard. Is that not very old fashioned? I use Excel or I have it on my phone every day." I say, yeah, that's brilliant. Have it that way as well. If that suits you, brilliant. But you cannot beat the whiteboard. Like, you just cannot beat the visualization of when you walk by every single time. And I keep repeating myself because it's so important. And I've seen so many businesses do so well and thrive because they're using the whiteboard, no matter what size of business they are. Because if you go into the office and you're having a bad day and you're sitting there and the day hasn't gone well, and you look up at your whiteboard and your sales target for this week is say 5,000, but you realize you're on 6,000. God, you feel great, don't you? You're 1,000 over target for sales for this week. There's something to be grateful for. There's something to be happy for. There's something to say, wow, yeah, okay, I'm winning here. I'm doing what I have to do. However, if you're sitting there and you're thinking you had a bad week and you're looking up and your sales target is 5 grand and you're only at 3 or 4, well, seeing that figure is going to drive you to pick up that phone and make that call, or will drive you to get into the car and go and knock on someone's door to get that sale. And that's what it will do. It will drive you in all types of ways. So whether you're down, whether you're doing well, whether you're not doing well, seeing those figures when you're sitting at your desk will drive you and will push you forward. I guarantee you, that's what it will do for you. It's a fantastic, fantastic motivator. And you should 100% use it. It's a fantastic motivator. So if you don't have a whiteboard and you have an office, like, you can pick up a whiteboard in a liquidation center or a second-hand office place. They're not that expensive. There could be 200 or 300 quid, but that money that you invest in that whiteboard is going to pay back tenfold. It's going to pay you back tenfold. It really is. Now, the thing is, we're on a Thursday. You're getting Thursday end of the week, and now you're panicking. Because, as you know, when you work for yourself, getting near the end of the week, it's a hard time when you have, if you only have yourself, well, then you need to get money in for yourself to feed the family, pay the bills. If you have staff, you're probably out there looking for money, looking for staff, or looking for money, looking to pay the staff. And it's always a time when you run your own business that you worry about where the money's going to come in. So I always recommend to people, on a Thursday morning, one of the first things that you do in the office is look at that collection figure. Just look at that collection figure and how close are you towards collecting what your target is for this week, money-wise. And if you're way off or you're nearly there, I would say come 9 o'clock, you work the phones for an hour or 2 hours to try and get that target in and take the pressure off yourself. And be honest with people. Just say to people who owe you money, look, it's coming towards the end of the week. I have to get a few bob in for the wages for the staff. Would you mind doing a transfer from me? Or can I? Now, very few do by check. Now, 1 or 2 companies we dealt with still did by check. But would you mind? Would you be able to do a transfer from me today? I'd really appreciate it. Maybe if you have Revolut, you send them a Revolut request. So you remind them they owe the money. So on a Thursday morning, you should spend the 1 or 2 hours. Because there's no point spending the 1 or 2 hours on a Friday, because then the pressure is building up and you could just blow your head. The pressure could just blow your head off. So spend the 1 or 2 hours this morning. If you're a small business, and if you have sales reps, then ask 1 or 2 of those sales reps, if they have customers who owe you money, ask them to lift the phone, because they have the relationship as well, to ring who that customer is and say, look, we're owed a few bob. The boss is on my back. Would you mind sorting that out for me? Can I get it in today? Or you can do a transfer for me today or tomorrow? I'd really appreciate it. And ask them to do that. Okay? And that's important. Ask them to do that. So we've gone through the whole scenario now of the whiteboard. You have your whiteboard. I'm hoping you're going to use it very efficiently. I'm hoping that if you come in the office every morning, or you come in the office once a day or once a week or whatever it is, that you have your key figures up there, your key numbers. The last thing I would say about the whiteboard is that if you have for this year, I always tell people they should have maybe 1 or 2 ideal customers you would like to get. So who, customer-wise, would you love to have as one of your customers on your books? Who is the customer that if you could have this person, you would love to have them as a customer of your business? But maybe at the moment you feel it's way out of your reach. Maybe at the moment you feel they'll never come and be a customer of mine. They'll never use my services. They'll never use my products. They'll never use me because you think you're too small. You think you don't have the product. You think you don't have the level of service you might want. But if you had this customer, it would mean so much for your business. It would elevate your business up to a certain level because you'll be able to tell people, I have such a customer. It could be like, I have Tesco, Lidl, Dunnes Stores. I have BWG. I have Ballymore Homes. I have RTE. I have Virgin Radio. Whatever it is, someone that if you excuse me, if you had them, that would make a huge difference to your business. Put down on your whiteboard 1 or 2 or 3 businesses that you would love to have, but you don't have at the moment. Put the names on that whiteboard. Because when you have it up there, you never know when you're at some function or you're at some networking event or you're going somewhere and someone happens to say, I work for one of those 3 companies, that your head will switch on. Because once you have the 1, 2 or 3 names up there of these customers that you would love to have, that you would just want to have, that would elevate your business, and it's something that would make a big difference to your cash flow, to your sales. Maybe if you had them, they would introduce you to other customers and would bring in more business because it would say that you're the gold standard or you're at a certain level. Put those 1, 2 or 3 customers on your whiteboard. Put them up there and say, if I had them. And it means that, again, every morning or every afternoon, when you're sitting there having your cup of coffee or having your cup of tea and you're reviewing the week or you're reviewing the day, you have those 3 names there just in your peripheral vision. And they may not be a customer now, but they may be a customer soon. They may be a customer soon. And that's important, right? So, because that way you're using your whiteboard as a magnet to manifest what you want. So you have your sales there, you have your turnover figure there, you have your cash in figure there, and you also have maybe 1 or 2 ideal customers that you would like to get, or 3 ideal customers that you want to get. That would make a huge difference. It could be some well-known pharmaceutical company that if you were delivering products to them, Janie Mackers, how great would it make you feel? It could be some firm of accountancy. It could be some software company. It could be Amazon as a customer. It could be Google as a customer. It could be eBay. It could be Facebook as a customer. But if you had one of those companies as a customer to you, that in your mind is going to change your business and bring you to the next level, right? So put that name up there, 1, 2 or 3 up there as well, and see how it goes. Right. So as usual, I only keep you to about 90 and 20 minutes, folks, because I know everyone has a busy morning ahead. So we need to get to the end, to the end of our session. So, sorry, I had a flu a few weeks ago, and my voice is still not fully back. Some people will say, thank God for that. So if anyone has, I know I'm on TikTok over here as well. If anyone has any questions, just let me know. Remember, my email address is there, markbeggs@gmail.com. If you missed some of this show, you can catch the whole show again on YouTube at mindseyeeducation.com. So if you need to catch the show again, just go on to at mindseyeeducation.com. I'm on LinkedIn as Mark Beggs. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram as Mark Beggs as well. So you have plenty of ways to contact me. If you want advice for your business, if you want me to have a cup of coffee with you, a free cup of coffee, you buy the coffee, just to chat about your business, and maybe you have some challenges you want to just talk them through. What's happening here? Okay. All right, folks, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. Everybody have a great Thursday. Have a great morning. Thanks for joining me this morning. Really appreciate it.